that soul in her. It's not like in money games. Also, it's like he's giving her these titles when she's it's expensive housing. I guarantee you $200,000 you can sell your house for. When I heard that,
Okay. Why do I look cracked out? All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Ask Jun the Groomer. I'm sorry, I have two computers going because it seemed like a lot of the lag and everything was just, I was just doing too much on my one laptop. So I'm gonna comment. Oh, Giselle in Blue. Hi, Giselle in Blue. How are you? Not a minute late. I was stressing too. Oh my goodness. I was like, 10 minutes, Anyways, running back and forth. But thank you everybody so much for joining me for another week. I got a really good one for you today, I hope. Yes, we're live. How are you, Daniel Brown? But as far as the nails, how to do dog nails, I've gone over this before in other videos, and I have a lot to go over today. I'm going to try to cover like 10 really helpful tips that I was just going through my grooming notes, my old grooming journals that I used to take with me to the trade shows and the educational classes. And just going through some of the notes, I was just like, wow, like I forgot that I wrote some of these, So I just wanted to pick out my favorite 10 and share it with you guys. Hopefully it'll be helpful. Oh, wow. Naran Bayar Angalan Batar. Hi, Jun. Hey, how are you? Welcome to the show. Zanetta Masad. Thank you so much. There's a clap. Vera Rami, been missing your videos. OMG. Oh, well, thank you so much. And also, we really do want to do more videos. It's just going on right now. So, but yeah, thank you so much for joining. I'd love to answer any grooming questions that you have. No, it was Zanetti and Vera. Juliet. Hey, what's up, Juliet Underwood? So good to see you and hear you again, Judo. It was just last week, wasn't it? Teresa Shiflet. But no, thank you, Juliet. I hope you don't think I was like, get away. No. Teresa Shiflet. What's your favorite shampoo and conditioner? That I'm using is Bark to Basics Greek Yogurt Pomegranate Shampoo and Conditioner. I love it. But also, with me, I was even using Earth Bath oatmeal shampoo and conditioner. I loved it. I mean, really with me, when it comes to shampoo and conditioner, it's not really hard to please me. And I believe that it's more the prep work that gets you the great results, more so than the shampoo and the conditioner. So I'm not really brand loyal to any shampoo or conditioner company. Oh, Bobby Panther. Bobby Panther makes a great product line. They have one shampoo specifically that I like called Charlie Dog. I really like Charlie Dog. It says, and Charlie Dog, it kind of says on the bottle like for flea and tick and things like that. Really, you can use it for anything. It doesn't have to just be a flea and tick shampoo. Renea Green, first time I made it live. Awesome, Renea. Oh, thank you so much. AU11, what's up, AU? Lovers Lane Hodge, hi. How do you clip black nails? When it curves out like this, you want to cut it down like this, not like this. And I did put a link up if you want to go up on the live chat window. The very first comment that I put up for Daniel. If you click that link, that short link that I put there, first video, well, one of my very first videos, where I show how to do dog nails. Daniel Brown, how are you today? Doing great. Let's see. I'm really excited. I really don't know exactly how this is going to go because I really haven't rehearsed it. But I'm going to go through these 10 points that I wanted to share with you guys. And I also wrote a blog about it as well on my website, junthegroomer.com. If you wanted to copy and paste and maybe print it out just so you have it for yourself. But because I'm going to go through it live, I don't want to read it to you. I want to give you just a little more backstory and things like that. Stuff you wouldn't be able to get on the blog just reading it. All right, Giselle, well, me too. A11. Okay, Kelly Smith. Hi, hey Kelly Smith. How are you? All right, so it looks like I'm caught up. I am gonna get right into it. So hopefully everybody can see this. Perfect. Present to everyone. So, and this is not in any specific order. So I don't want you to think that this is like in order of like least important to most important. This is just, I just thought that it kind of flowed a little bit better the way I organized it. So we're gonna start with Christina Pulaski. This is, and she is one of the, she's like an Oster representative. Every time you go to the trade show, she's gonna be at the Oster booth. And her classes are phenomenal. But anyways, that's where I kind of, when I started going to these seminars and watching Christina Pulaski. Okay, so when she was actually showing us and explaining all this carding and everything, she was doing a live groom on Sheltie, and she literally used a Coke King and a Greyhound comb, a little bit of slickering, and she plucked a little in a few areas like around the hocks and everything, and that was it. And the dog was sculpted beautifully. So that was when I first realized, wait a minute, there are groomers that are out there that groom like this. You know, they don't just clip the dog or do like a comb guard everywhere and everything. Like she literally sculpted the dog by removing the dead and fuzzy hairs. It was amazing. So that's first one. Scott Wasserman. He was one of the instructors at and they call him Mr. Terrier. He's like internationally known. Every time this guy competes, he wins. And so, anyways, when I went to the ISCC seminar, that's when he started to explain to us like why it's so important to brush our dogs, even if it's just for 15 minutes before we actually wash them, and how beneficial that is, and rather than just putting them in the tub and just start lathering them up. And that's when it first like hit me like, oh my goodness, maybe we should be grooming a different way. If this information is true, then grooming in such a hurry. I really, so that's when I first started to like literally start shaking. I mean, when I started like learning this information, like I wanted to bolt because I had a business plan made, like I was gonna do a lot of dogs in a day. Because I mean, I felt like that was being a good groomer, right? And being successful. So I started calculating in my head, like, okay, if they're spending that much time brushing, and oh my goodness. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I could do like 4 dogs in a day, 5, 6 maybe. I literally, and the thing is, now I know if I'm doing it by myself and I have no help, I do 2 dogs a day, maybe 3. And I know that now, but before I really was trying to do like 6 because I just felt like a good groomer should be able to do 6 to 8 dogs a day, right? Oh my goodness, and I was just killing myself. But anyways, let me share with you a little bit more here. The next 2. Actually enjoying this. So Arena Pinkzevich. Anyway, everyone calls her Pina. Yes. Everyone calls her Pina, and she actually works with Oster as well, alongside Christina Pulaski. But she does an amazing job. Her specialty, like her forte, is American Cocker Spaniel. But she was explaining how bathing and drying really is the foundation of the groom. And if you don't have a good foundation, when a storm comes, no matter how beautiful the house is, no matter how pretty the trim, it's going to go down because the foundation is not there. A better example that I have is when I was building out my own shop. I didn't know that you could ask for build out money. And you can't ask for it after you've signed the lease. Anyway, I didn't have I couldn't afford to pay anyone to actually remodel my shop or rebuild it out, and so I had to do all the remodeling and everything, painting. And when I started painting the walls, before that I thought that you just buy paint. I just wanted my walls purple. That was it. I didn't want to do all this sheetrock, cutting the wall sections out, sanding, priming. all of this stuff. And then even after you're done with all of that, like really like laborious, like really like sweating, after you're done with all that, then you got to tape everything off and do all this other tedious stuff before you even start painting. And once you actually get the paint on the wall, and when you're painting, that's when you're actually having fun, you know, the hard part's done. Why do I bring that up? Because in other words, when we're grooming the dog, when you actually start lathering the dog and washing and rinsing and drying the dog off and then do the haircut, that's kind of like painting the walls, you know. That's the fun part. The All that brushing and carding, the dead coat out, getting the prep work is, I love that Irina pointed out that good prep work prevents track marks and clipper lines. um, Scott Wasserman, so the next one, this I found really helpful, and this was in his class called Practical Hand Stripping. I think this was back in 2013. But anyways, the Schnauzer versus the Scotty eyebrows. Before I learned from Scott, I really didn't understand the difference between a Scotty and a Schnauzer eyebrows. I just thought that Schnauzer eyebrows were shorter and Scottish eyebrows were longer. Come to find out, it's actually how you angle the scissors. So when you do a Schnauzer eyebrow, you go from the tip of the corner of the the eyes, so outside corners of the eyes to the center of the nose, and that makes a tight V shape. And then with the Scottish Terrier, you're going to go a little bit less of that sharp angle, and it's from the outside corners of the eyes to the outside edge of the nose. Kind of draw a line imaginary, and just cut right there. And I didn't know that, and I felt like that was super super helpful. Let me see here. Let's get down to the next ones, and then question, live Q&A. Oh man, my head's like right there. My head's like right there. Okay, let's get to the next points. I just wanted to like run through these so we could have more Q&A time. Jonathan David, if you guys don't know, he was actually on a show on Animal Planet called Groomer Has It. I actually like that show because of him. I'm kind of a fan. But and actually in the show, it kind of portrays him inaccurately, I think, because he's super approachable, and every time I run into the guy or have any kind of interaction with him, even on Facebook, I bug him, and he's nothing but nice. He's nothing but nice and genuinely helpful, and so I really like Jonathan David. But when you go to one of his classes, especially the Bijan class, oh man, he does a whole Bijan with blenders and chunkers and thinners. I mean, it's amazing. And this tip right here, doing the feet. But here's the thing with my clients, I do clip kind of behind the pad and make a little bit more of a beveled round foot, even on a Bijan. I know that's not breed standard, but for pets, because I'm not seeing them for another 4 to 6 weeks, and in that time, it's not really realistic to expect the clients to, maintain it and comb it out and everything every day during that time. So, for my clients, for the pets, I kind of trim behind the pad, but it's good to know that if a client does call and they're kind of like, hey, do you know how to do a Bijon frise, breed standard? I can say, yes, I know exactly how to do a Bijon frise breed standard. Anyways, Christina Pulaski, before I get too off track, um, I can't say enough good things about Christina Pulaski. And I may have creeped her out a little bit just because I kind of maybe overly expressed how much I like her. Um, and I do that. I'm sure. So, oh my goodness, one of my good friends now, because we met in person. But her name is Rosanna Moeller, and her husband, his name is Barry. Oh my goodness, they're amazing. They're so cool. But they drove down on their motorcycles from Canada, and made a stop to Super Zoo in Las Vegas just to meet me. And that was like so mind-boggling to me. And like I started like I dropped everything. I dropped all, like I kind of didn't do one interview that I scheduled because I was just so amazed that somebody would drive down from Canada to meet me. So I was like, what can I help you with? And she wanted to, maybe do this and that. And so I started introducing her to everyone that I knew, that, different vendors. And then, they had to go. They were kind of running behind on schedule. And so I was like, oh my God, I gotta do something. Like, let me pay for your parking. They're like, no, no, no. I was like, let me massage your shoulders. You guys gotta be tired riding that motorcycle. You like massage your shoulders. I'm pretty sure I creeped them out. Um, but hey, that's what I do. So if you ever meet me, just to warn you, I may creep you out. Why did I get off on that tangent? Okay, Brenda. Brenda Mitchell, professional image and attitude. The way you act influences how your customers view you. That really helps me a lot. I got to remind myself all the time because every single day I'm just kicking myself after I leave the house. Like, why did you say that? Um, always give the client a little more than they expect. And Jim Rohn, I don't know if you guys know that I'm a huge fan of Jim Rohn. He actually says that as well. I'm going to turn this off and just talk because I see some people saying they can't see my face. I don't know why you guys would want to, anyways. But anyways, what I really liked and took away from Brenda Mitchell, she grooms down in South Georgia. But what I really liked about her is that she said one thing that I wrote down, and I'll really take to heart. You can't be everybody's groomer. Market what's special and unique about you. Really, I mean, if you think about how many dogs are even in just one subdivision, one single neighborhood, it's crazy the amount of dogs people have. I mean, for the households that don't have dogs, the households that do have dogs will make up for them because they usually have like 3 or 4 dogs. Like so many dogs just in one neighborhood. So even for one neighborhood, like I couldn't handle a whole neighborhood. I can maybe handle like half of a neighborhood. Like anyways. Um, my point is, when with grooming, there's never a need to feel like there's a lack of clients out there, or where are all the dogs? I have to groom all the dogs. I'm constantly looking for new clients. And then this next one is going to address that. Cantu Thacker, and she was actually part of Groom Team USA, and she has a mobile grooming business in Texas called Posh Paws Mobile. Class because this was at a time where I was struggling with pricing and everything, and she really helped open my eyes because I'm not competing with any other groomer because I believe that we're artists, and artists, how can you compete? So I'm not competing with any other art groomers out there. Why am I competing with them in price? So that's when I really realized I am not gonna worry about what anyone else is charging or what they're doing. I'm going to just do what I need to do. And so, and that's what she says, quit worrying about the competition. You don't have to call them up and act like you're a client and, scope out their prices. Who cares what they're charging? You don't need gimmicks, coupons, or discounts. All you need to do is invest in yourself. And like, wow. And Jim Rohn says the same thing, Everyone's always asking, what am I getting here? What am I getting out of this? And he's saying that's not the right question to ask. The right question to ask is, what am I becoming here? What is this making of me to do this? And so I say, always do your best. Always do the best you possibly can. And the biggest excuse I hear a lot is, well, I'm not getting paid enough. So it's like, okay, well, my question is then, how much more do you need to do your best? Well, if they were paying me $100, not $60, $100, then I do my best. So $40, that's the price of your integrity, I guess. Like, so for $40 more, you would do your absolute best, but because you're not getting that extra $40, you're not going to do your best. Like, there's two philosophies that we can live by. One says, if this is all I'm getting paid, then this is all I'm going to do. I do as much as I'm getting paid to do. That's one philosophy to live by, and there's nothing wrong with that. It makes sense. Another philosophy would be, no matter how much I get paid, do my very best. There's no price for the quality of my work. And that second philosophy is what I've adopted like 6 years ago, pretty much, is when I first heard Jim Rohn. It was a 7-minute clip where he's just yelling, do the best you possibly can, do the best you can. Anyways, yeah, ever since I've adopted this way of thinking, no matter what it is, no matter how insignificant the task, no matter what the price is that I'm getting, whenever what I'm getting paid for this, even if I'm getting paid nothing, I'm going to do my best, because how you do anything is how you do everything. So it's just started changing for me. Okay, so we're down to the last two. So hopefully you guys are still interested. It's still sticking around. But here is the last two. This was a seminar called The Groomers Intellectual Property. And up until this point in my life, I think this was 2014, 14. Yeah, because this was in Atlanta. So back in 2014 is when I first heard the term intellectual property. I mean, I may have heard of it, but it just never really, I guess registered. But how much we know, the experiences we have literally make us valuable. And I never knew that. I thought it was how much you had in your bank or who you knew, the connections you had. I thought that's what made you valuable. But no, it's what you've been through, who you are, who you've become, and the experiences you've gathered, and the wisdom. Hopefully you've learned from those experiences and you've gained wisdom. That is valuable. That's intellectual property. So I loved her philosophy about serving over selling, rather than thinking. And here's what I really love. She said that whenever someone calls her shop and how much for a shizu shave down, how much to bathe my lab, how much to bathe the golden, how much do you charge, how long does it take? Whenever she gets a call like that, she says she always tells them, and I put this in quotations because I loved it, I can give you a price, but are you interested in who we are and what we do? It's like, wow. And Simon Sinek, he says people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do is just a reflection of that. So anyways, it just seems like all of these people who have become successful in life, they all kind of say the same thing, and then the I guess cynic in me, the pessimist in me, tempted to say, well, it's obvious stuff they're saying, it's all BS, it's just all like, feel good, positive thinking BS. Every single one of them, because there's so many self-made millionaires, and they all say the same things, and they all attribute it to becoming a better person, becoming a valuable person, being of service. It's like they can't all be wrong, And so here is the last one by Kenny Timeless. And this Kenny Timeless, I think he was a lieutenant, or he was an officer, and during the Black Hawk Down mission. If you guys are familiar with the movie Black Hawk Down, he was a keynote speaker for Super Zoo 2015. This was out in Las Vegas, but I loved his speech. These are some of the points that I got. We all have a responsibility to choose to do what we know we're supposed to do, because lives are affected by your example. And he tells a story of when they were left behind and everything just started going south. He's saying they panicked. A lot of the soldiers panicked, and even he did. And he's saying standard SOPs are standard operating procedures. They're steps that there is a process that you have to follow. It keeps everybody safe. So there was this intersection, really dangerous intersection that they're trying to cross, and these soldiers were just running across. They were supposed to stop, check, and then cover somebody, and then they go when the next person stops and covers them, like that. And so everyone's always being covered. But they weren't doing that. They were just running, and because it was just a panic. It was chaos. And he's saying when things fall apart, we start skipping steps. And there's this one soldier who chose to stop. He stopped, he looked, and he spotted an enemy with an RPG pointed right to their group, and right at their group. And he shot him just before the enemy pulled the trigger, and the missile flew right by their heads and knocked down, blew up. But anyways, And he was saying the incredible thing is David Floyd, the soldier who did that extraordinary thing just by doing an ordinary thing at that extraordinary moment, he was considered the weakest link out of the group, which means that it really doesn't matter who you are or anything. It doesn't matter. We all have a responsibility to choose to do what we know we're supposed to do, especially when things are falling apart around us, right? And how does that apply to grooming? Let me just move this screen a little bit down. So I'm gonna connect this with dog grooming. I know you may be like, wait a minute. I heard this guy Jude wanted to be a preacher. Is he preaching at me? No, I promise I'm not preaching at you. So David Floyd was the only one that stopped to, he follows SOPs, standard operating procedures. Um, because he did that, he actually saved the lives of that entire group. Lives are affected by your example. We never know how much of an impact we can make on the lives of our clients and their pets just by choosing. So here's why I wrote that, because a lot of my clients, the reason why they love me so much and they will never go to another groomer is because everybody told them that the skin condition is genetic, it's hereditary, it's in their DNA, it's like whatever, like it's seasonal, there's nothing they can do about it. And their dogs are just miserable, itching all night, whining, like. And then here I show up and I tell them, hey, there's hope. I can help you. I can get this gone for you. I can help. And I spend hours sweating. Just sweat is pouring down literally every single day. And I'm carding. Just removing all this stuff and clearing out those pores, even in areas where there's no hair. You'd be amazed at how much junk, cellular junk, comes out of the skin when you're carding through, even if there's no hair there. Crazy thing is, this one Bichon, who has Cushing's, losing hair, pretty much balding, and patches where he was just bald. When I went through and carded him, and after that I was done with the groom, it actually kind of amazingly looked like he grew hair from nowhere. It's like, where did all this hair come from? It's crazy because we kind of pulled it out of his skin. Anyways, um, imagine the impact that can have. Like, we really don't know how much of an impact that makes on somebody's life to see their dog comfortable. Forget about how they look. The coat's growing back, the dog looks good again, doesn't look all patchy and nasty and scabby. um, but forget about that. Just looking at their dog comfortably laying and sleeping and taking a nap, their dog just looks peaceful and comfortable, when before their dog looked so miserable. Knowing that they've helped their dog, suffer less and feel more happy, knowing that they did that for their dog by calling me, calling you if you're the groomer. Imagine how much that could change that person's life. Even something so small as just grooming their dog. But anyways, I've talked enough. And I hope you guys enjoyed those 10 points, because I'm telling you, these ideas were life-changing for me. They literally have changed my life. And so I really hope, that even maybe one of those points will help you as well. Even just a fraction of how much it's helped me, you know. And I feel so grateful for. Oh my goodness! Look at all these comments. Oh my goodness! Oh, is this for real? Wow, so many people. 20 people are still watching. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get down to business. Oh my goodness. Juliet Underwood. When do you shave down? First with the 7 and then a shampoo? Okay, so when a dog is matted and just pelted, and you can feel like just hard pelt of hair, then I shave, because there's really no working through that. And why? What's the point to say like, oh, look at me, I can demat anything. Ooh, like I used to have that. I used to have that ego. But now I feel like, you know what? let's just shave it off. The skin is already compromised. Let's just shave it down, and then let's start over. Um, so yeah, when a dog is pelted and there's really no working those mats, if they're just like pin mats, little balls everywhere in the coat, fine, we'll work that out. But if they're pelted, I mean, I'm talking big balls of mats everywhere, then I shave. And when they're at that point, sometimes a 7 won't even do. You have to use a 10 around the legs sometimes. I've had to do that a lot, especially around here in the armpits. I'll use a 10 and then 10 down, like where it's really pelted tight around the legs. And then, as soon as I'm able to get away with it, then kind of finish with the 7. But even around the feet, sometimes you got to go with the 10. And then on the body, I'll just kind of do a 7 and try to blend it into the 10 leg, which is weird, But hey, I just tell the clients, or the rescue shelter, whoever I'm doing this for, like, hey, you're not gonna get a great results this time because this is the situation. But as long as we keep them on a regular schedule, this, we and you give them a vision, like we can work towards this, But yeah, if the dog is melted, not melted, matted, not melted. If the dog is melted, we got other problems. No, but if a dog is matted, then yeah, definitely shave. Theodora, I never got an email from you, Theodora. Send me your address. Seriously, I'll send you the 2 books. I remember last week you're like, I never thought anybody would want my books, which is why I had such easy time writing them. So I think, but anyways, Giselle and Blue. I have a brush that I think it's a de-shedding tool for Blue. I wouldn't that brush you recommend for me to use, that bear claw tool. Yeah, and here's the thing though, and I think it was Christina Pulaski who said it. She was saying that some of your best dematting tools are also going to be your best carding tools. And so, even though it's for dematting, sometimes it'll work really good for de-shedding, carding, removing the dead coat. So I wouldn't really focus too much on the tools, and the specific tool. And Christina Pulaski even said that. She was like, try different tools and try them in different directions. If it's not really doing anything when you're doing it this way with the coat, try going against the grain. Try going sideways. And just experiment. Just try different things, because it's not like a set scientific. It's not a set thing. It's a process. It's okay. This dog is in this condition, the skin is full, the pores are full, we got to get it clear. And now how do we do that? And if you don't have any tools with you, shoot, you use your teeth. I shouldn't use that joke anymore, because my tools actually got stolen. And one morning I really was thinking, like, do I go and use my teeth? Anyways, I'm sure the client wouldn't. I'm sure they would stop me. Like, what are you doing? Annie Lou, you're funny. Just found you. Yay, us also. I rescued a half Tasmanian Devil, half Chihuahua Fox Terrier. She has been sent home from the groomer with only one shave down her leg. She bites. Huh. half Tasmanian Devil, half Chihuahua Fox Terrier. I mean, like, whoa. Yeah, especially wire Fox Terriers. So there's studies that they've done with with dog breeds, to see if there was a difference in how breeds got along. And so with no human supervision, they had, dogs separated by breed and living together. All the other breeds did fairly well, and some breeds got along better than others. Wire Fox Terriers killed each other. So yeah, when you're dealing with the wire Fox Terrier, sometimes it's going to be an ordeal. I tell people all the time, hey, we're artists, and every once in a while we become martial artists. Daniel Brown, it's sunny and hot. Oh wow, it's sunny and hot here too, in the middle of winter time. It's amazing. Like today, my daughters and I went to the playground. Shorts. They had the short dress. I had shorts on. amazing. I can't believe it's so nice. It's nice in January. I'm not gonna get into any grooming. Just stay in my lane, dog grooming. Um, Doe Dear S, what books or videos besides Milan for a future groomer? Well, I hate to be biased, but The Art of Grooming and Four Steps. No, I was kidding. Other than I guess my books, Notes from the Grooming Table. I really like Notes from the Grooming Table. That's by Melissa Verplank. It's that blue book. I probably have it lying around. Oh, this one as well. This one is one of my favorite books. It's Poodle Clipping and Grooming, the International Reference by Shirley Calstone. One of my favorite books. And also AccuDog. I really liked AccuDog just because of all the diagrams and the pictures they have. They show you exactly where the pressure points are on the dog. That and they have it separated by like symptoms pretty much, like anxiety. Like who'd have thought? But they have like all the points mapped out to help a dog with anxiety. Um, but anyways, yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, those would be my favorites. Definitely Caesar's Way. I love Caesar's Way. And then yeah, Notes from the Grooming Table, AccuDog. Um, but yeah, honestly, I wanted a book that kind of explained, how to actually enjoy this job, because oh my goodness, you don't know how many times I wanted to quit when I first started because we all love dogs, and I get it when a dog's squirming and and especially when they're not even aggressive, they're just being pitiful, and it just makes you feel so, oh, I'm a big bully, I'm just a big fat bully, like I don't like myself, and I really wanted to quit because I just felt like I'm doing everything that the dogs hate in one session. Like I didn't sign up for this. I thought the dogs just basked in it, oh, they loved it. I didn't know that they were gonna fight me. But yeah, Caesar's Way really helped. And it helped me understand that quitting was the worst thing I could have done for the dogs and myself. I would have been avoiding the opportunity for me to grow, and also the opportunity to help these dogs. And by helping the dogs, I'm helping the owners. And then by helping the owners, I'm helping their family. And it's just a ripple effect. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad I stuck with it, but definitely I wanted a book that would help me. And so that's why I wrote The Art of Grooming. And because I wanted to incorporate books and information, the full catastrophe living. Full Catastrophe Living is a handbook for living that I really, oh my goodness, I actually got that as an audiobook from the library, and I was listening to it in the grooming room when I was grooming all day long. And it helped me so much. And I listened to it twice actually because it's just the ideas in this book really help catastrophe when we're in a really busy day. Clients are calling me, is my dog ready? Why is my dog ready? People calling like, how much for our shave down? Like, why don't you do shave downs? Like, and the dog on the table is not cooperating, just jumping out, and then everything just seems to be going south. And the dogs, another dog just pooped on another dog or peed on another dog that was already done. The owner's about to come pick him up, but I got this dog on the table, and like I would just freak out sometimes, and I would just like sometimes like scream like, honey, like like to my wife, like, help me, why don't you care about me, and that never inspires anybody. That's not like, it's not like my wife is gonna come in and say like, oh wow, I see you're suffering. Nobody wants to be yelled at and they're not going to respond. So it was just crazy. But Full Catastrophe Living just helps you understand that this is life, full catastrophe, and it's like a symphony. You want it all. You want the banging, you want the high notes, the low notes, you want it all, because once we're gone, that's it. So it's in going through this that it's living. Anyways, I probably did a really horrible job reviewing that book for you guys. But anyways, Full Catastrophe Living was awesome. But anyway, yeah, so um But and also Dodier S. A lot of the books that have been most helpful for me have nothing to do with grooming. There's this one book that I just listened to called Unthinkable, and it's about surviving like tragedies. And that book, oh my goodness, it was really eye-opening for me too, and I applied it to grooming. So I think a lot of times, we can draw inspiration from outside of our industry. Um, you know, let's see, or oh, who is it? Daryl Connor. I really like her blogs. Daryl Connor, she's very positive. Um, Theodora Paz. What are we drinking today, Gina? I'm sipping on a nice Chardonnay. Awesome, Theodora. I'm sipping on Terrapin Hopsecutioner. And I'm really into IPAs. I used to not like IPAs because it's bitter. I was like, why would anybody drink that? It's so bitter. And then one beer salesman, and this guy obviously liked his beer. But anyways, he was like talking to me. He was like so passionate about IPAs, and he was like, it's a natural preservative. Like there's no artificial preservatives. He's like, all these other beers, they have to have preservatives in them. He's like, IPAs, the hops are the preservatives, and he explained how that's how they came up with it. Because transporting it over to India from England, the beer would go bad, and so in order to fix this, they started putting hops in the beer to preserve the beer for longer. It would make the beer bitter but still drinkable, and so that's how it's called Indian Pale Ale, but it wasn't made in India. And it's like, wow, when I understood the history of it and I appreciated it more, I started drinking it, and now I really don't enjoy any other beer other than IPA. So it's interesting how knowing more, just by having a little bit more information can change our whole perception of things. And perception is everything, right? Fairy tale plans. Need more videos on grooming tips for starters. I learned more from you than I did at grooming school. Wow, thank you so much. I guess I'm open to suggestions, and I kind of do have like a list of ideas of videos to make, but it's just finding that time to actually so even this show, I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna make it. Anyways. Everyone's busy. I'm sure we're all busy. I don't want to make this sound like an excuse, but it's just I have to coordinate with my wife's schedule as well. Like she has to hold the camera, and so, anyways, and also my clients. I'm booked out till March, so we're booking for March right now. It's crazy. So we'll see. Theodora Paz. Theodora, what is a good moisturizer for paws, and how often is safe to clip nails? So there's a product called the Skinworks. It actually helps soften paws. There's also Megatech by Equis. And Skinworks, I believe you can buy that on Pet Edge or Pedigree. Any of the you can get Skinworks online. I think you could even get that. Yeah, you can get that on Pet Edge. Skinworks, and then Equis, the company called Equis, EQYSS. They make a cream in little black container that you screw open the top. It's called Megatech. Softens paws. It's amazing. But yeah, those two I've had really good. And also, if you wanted to, you could just put like a light layer of oil that moisturizes paws. So and I mean, I guess for if it's paws, you could use coconut oil, but still, the paw pads do still have pores, so you don't want to clog them. But this paw pads, it's a little rougher. I don't know. But if it was my decision, I would use argan oil or avocado oil, 100% of course, or emu oil. I would use one of those three oils and a light layer of it. But yeah, Skinworks, Megatech, or a light layer of oil. I heard even lavender oil. You could use like a very light, layer of lavender oil. Julia Underwood. Can't see your face. Now I can. Oh, yeah, that's the comment I saw kind of out of my peripheral. I was thinking like, who would want to see my face? Anyways, Lovers Lane Hodge, June, you're the bravest groomer ever, handling aggressive dogs. In so many cases, other groomers would refuse aggressive dogs. They always refer them to the vet. Keep up the great job, June. And thank you so much, Lovers Lane. And I'm, brave. What is courage, right? It's acting in spite of fear, because I don't want you to think that I have no fear. I'm scared to death. Because nobody looks forward to getting bit. It's not like I enjoy it. So, but John Wayne says courage is being scared to death, but strapping up anyways. So yeah, it's like a lot of some of the fear that I have to fight off is not just the fear of getting bit, but the fear of not making enough money. Because don't get me wrong, that thought comes to my mind too. Like, oh my God, I'm spending all day on this dog, and sometimes I have to cancel an appointment and reschedule that one because this dog is taking too long. And it's like, I know, like a part of me is like, oh, and I have that sinking feeling like, oh, I'm gonna go broke, like I won't have any money, and it's like, no, and I put that fear aside, just like, there's gonna be plenty of money, I don't know why I always had this fear that all of a sudden all my clients are just gonna say like, hey June, the last time you were acting pretty weird, and some of the things you said made it pretty awkward. Like, I don't think we want you again. Like, why do I think that's gonna happen? I don't know. So I just put the fear away. It's like, no, I have more than enough money coming in. I'm charging enough for this dog for the day. I'm okay with how much I'm making for the day. Like, and I just have to be okay with it. And again, um, like, it doesn't matter how much I'm getting paid. I'm always gonna do my best. God's Lady First. Thanks for explaining how long it really takes to do a good groom. I watched your videos and groomed my Shih Tzu last Friday. It took me two 2-hour sessions. Wow. Buttons feel so good. He fell asleep. Yes. And that's the reward, knowing that you helped your dog feel better. And looking good is just a good side effect of them feeling so good. Daniel Brown, walking dogs love how. Crazy YX Coco. Hi Jen, I have an 8-year-old Bichon Poo. He looks exactly like Bao from an earlier video. Wow, okay. Maybe that's what Bao was too. See, he did have that dock tail, and he didn't really look like a Bichon. Anyways, maybe he was a Bichon Poo. What causes the hair around the eyes to turn brown? It just started 8 months ago. Thanks. The hair around the eyes, if it just started 8 months ago, it could be some internal changes, different, hormonal changes, or different, blood levels, or, levels in, iron level, whatever, it could be like different changes going on in his body. And now we're seeing it coming out in his eyes. Michelle Knowles, she was the director over at Yves Saint Bernard. I don't know what she's doing now exactly, but she was teaching. She told me that it's red blood cells coming out of the tear ducts, and that's making it stain red. Other people have told me it's bacteria, because as the tear, as moisture gathers there, when it gets moist, bacteria starts to grow and it turns brown, and that's why it smells as well. And also, I had one of my clients. She started feeding her 2 dogs raw, and her dogs had such bad brown tear stains that the skin would turn red and raw underneath. But after she started feeding them completely raw, it's gone. It's all cleared up, and it's nice and smooth. And it is really expensive, so not something I can consider for mine. But it could be a number of things. But what we can do to help is just continue to brush it. If you have like maybe a toothbrush, even just a toothbrush isn't going to do anything when it's all built up. So when you have all that buildup, then you want to get a metal comb, and just with the wide metal comb, just kind of break it up and then comb it out. But on a regular basis, once all the buildup is not there anymore, and just on a regular basis, like every morning or every night, maybe use a toothbrush, a light layer of oil on it, and just brush right here in between where the tear stains usually are. And the oils will help repel off the moisture and keep that area clean. So just a suggestion you could try. Um, but good luck with that. Good luck with that. God's lady first. First time I've been able to catch you live. Wow. Hopefully it was worth it, right? Worth the trouble. God's lady first. Thank you so much. Heidi Zuniga. Hi, Jan. How did you learn to scissor so well? I still have a little trouble. Practice, practice, practice. When I would drive in my car, I would literally have like one of the scissors, like dull scissors, of course, because I didn't want to like accidentally poke myself or anything while I'm driving. But yeah, I would while I'm driving on the highway or traffic, I would have like a dull pair of scissors, and I would constantly just practice that motion and practice keeping my wrist still, bounce, keeping it completely still, and just kind of going even, and then you can kind of do this way, and God bless you. No, I was kidding. Oh man, hopefully that wasn't sacrilegious. God's lady first is like, I'm out. But anyways, yeah, just practice. And there's a book by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers. And in the book Outliers, he describes what makes people masters, reach mastery level at whatever their craft is. And it's 10,000 hours. It all boils down to every single person who is great at their craft, mastered their craft, has spent a minimum of 10,000 hours practicing. And not just, oh, I clock my practice hours in. No, like focused, deliberate practice where after every session, they've come out feeling like they've improved. 10,000 hours of that. And that's why every single day I went into work, I never looked at it like, all right, how much am I making today? How much am I getting paid? I looked at this as my education. I'm like thinking, I want to become a master groomer. And if I want to become a master groomer, I need to practice, So every single dog, I would not let it off my table unless, if I was working for someone, unless my boss came and took it off the table and put the next dog on the table for me. Or, unless I was satisfied, I was like, okay, this is good enough. And, well, this is excellent. This is still excellent, and I did my best. As long as I feel like I did my best, I would put the dog down. But I would always, and at the end of the day, especially if it was kind of like a, free for all kind of things, like however many dogs you can grab and get done, you get commission for. Especially on those kind of days, all these other groomers be like, man, I did 6 dogs, I did 8 dogs, I got all this money. I'd be like, man, I did 2 dogs, I did 2, 3 dogs. And I would always be like, budgeting gas money and everything because I didn't care. Because it's not about what you get, it's about what you become. And I'm really happy that you think that I have like, I'm really good with the scissors, because I put in a lot of hard work and a lot of practice to get that way. So, but now I almost do it without even thinking. I put earbuds on sometimes and I listen to audiobooks, and I'm just kind of getting in my little zone and scissoring away. It's kind of muscle memory at this point, but I had to put in 10,000 hours, but yeah, it's really nothing special. It's not like some God-given gift that I was born with. 10,000 hours. Let's see. But Heidi, hopefully, I know that's probably not the answer that you're probably thinking like, oh, it's this magic technique. No, 10,000 hours. A little less romantic. God's lady first. I see you now. Oh, nice. Okay, so this is because I'm going back. June's dog's good. Okay. Fairy tale plans, message retracted. Renea Green, how do I maintain my poodle mixed curly fur after a bath? I miss his wavy, shiny fur. After the bath, you want to dry them completely and comb them out. When you do that, their hair is going to be a little straight. It's going to be straight and kind of poofy, fluffed out. We call it fluff dried. If you want it curly again, if you want those curls to kind of tighten up again, you just mist them with water, a light mist on the top of the coat, and just kind of work it into the coat, and it'll kind of curl up again. You want to dry them completely and then mist the coat is because if you just keep them damp and let them air dry, not only are they going to dry crispy and nasty and smell, but that the moisture on the skin has been left there long enough for bacteria and everything to start to form. So you want to dry them completely. Make sure the skin is dry. And once the skin is dry on the surface, Then when you miss the top of the coat, it's not going to get the skin wet. So that's the idea, because the skin, even when we do dry our dog, when we're grooming, especially if we're in a hurry and we're drying a poodle mix, it seems like they're all dry, but then we get them on the table and they seem damp again. It's because it's hard to get them dry at the skin level. It's hard to get their skin dry. And when we're drying the dog after grooming them, after washing them, that's really the point, is get the skin dry, not the hair. Because when you get the skin dry, the hair will be dry. But if you just focus on drying the hair, sometimes the skin won't dry. And then when you get the dog on the table and you're doing your haircut, it kind of crimps up again, and it doesn't, it kind of feels damp, doesn't feel great. You don't get that nice soft finish. Um, so if you want that curly look on your poodle mix, and I do this with some of my doodles, because some of my clients, they do tell me like, oh, we want them curly, we don't want them all brushed out. So after I'm done with the broom, then I'll mist them with water, a little spray, like spray them down with a little bit of water, get their hair, kind of damp, work it in, kind of scrunch it in there, and let it dry. Let's see. God's lady, well, Renee Green, great question. I'm glad you asked me that. God's lady first. I still have trouble brushing my dog every day, but I'm done. But I'm brushing him more. Perfect. And every day is kind of idealistic. Realistically, if you do it twice a week or once a week, you're doing great. And it's not really about how much you do it, but the thoroughness of it. So when my daughter was like a year old, still a baby, we went to the pediatrician, and he looked at her teeth. He was like, you guys aren't doing a good job brushing her teeth. And I was like, what? That's my wife's fault. No, but seriously, I was like, that's crazy, because we brush her teeth like twice a day. Maybe we try to do it 3 times a day, but we definitely do it morning and evening. And he was like, try not to focus so much on doing it twice or 3 times a day. He was like, even if you do it once a day, if you just get all the nooks and crannies and do a really thorough job, it's better than doing it 2 or 3 times a day, just doing it once really thorough. And I was like, wow, clicked, like a light bulb went off. That's the way it is with our dogs. It's like, I brush my dog every day. I don't know what's wrong. It's like, rather than focus on how often you're brushing, focus on the thoroughness of it. How thoroughly are you brushing them out? Daniel Brown, yes, Daniel. I don't know what that yes is for, but I'll take it. God's lady first. Tomorrow's the day to bathe and do light trimming if needed. Perfect. All right, that's awesome. I'm glad that you have like a schedule and you're treating grooming as like a regular routine. It's about hygiene. Okay, so Lover's Lane Hodge, she's saying, God's lady first. Does your dog move a lot or on the aggressive side? God's lady first. He's a little fidgety when I first start, but I try to be patient until he settles down. I give a treat and a break after about 30 minutes. Lover's Lane Hodge, what breed do you have? God's lady first. He didn't want me to trim his ear right ear last week because getting over a little ear infection, so I just let that side be. Shih Tzu. Daniel Brown, smiley face. Okay, I mean, there's like a whole conversation going on, on like a side conversation here. Renee Green, crazy YX Coco. Providing filtered water only prevents stains. Also, provide quality food. Clean around dog's eyes regularly. That's great advice. And also, one of my clients, I remember she started giving her dogs distilled water, and that seemed to help with the tear stains, but also it's because there was no minerals in the water. So now there's no minerals in the tear stains, and the dog's not getting minerals. And so she had to find other ways to replenish minerals in her dog's diet because they weren't getting it from the water anymore because it's distilled water. So, I mean, yeah, I say really you got to do your research, but cleaning around the dog's eyes regularly, that's just makes sense. That's just something that we can do to help. Lover's Lane Hodge. Oh, I love Shih Tzu. Mine is 3 years old, Miss Anna. Lay K, I pronounced it right this time. Lay K4. Hi, hey, Lay K, what's up? God's lady first. We are preachers. LOL. No, really. God's lady first. You guys are preachers. Nice. Sir Pow Pow, do you groom cats too? No, I do not groom cats. I'm only a dog groomer. I like cats. I respect them. I don't have that connection with them. Um, and also, here's something interesting: the way that cats and dogs even use grooming, in a social manner is completely different. Dogs and the alpha dog will kind of sit there, a little aloof, and the other dogs will come and lick their muzzle, lick their ears, groom them and kind of help chew dead hair out. And they get groomed by their pack. With cats, the alpha cat will groom its pack members, and they are not allowed to groom it. The alpha grooms himself. So, and they also take like a dominant stance over their pack members while they're grooming them, kind of like I own you, like it's completely different. So, I'm just not in tune with cats like that. I know that about myself, so I don't groom cats. um, God's Lady First at Lovers Lane Hodge. Cool. Lovers Lane Hodge, and it's Hawj. I hope I'm saying it right. Lovers Lane Hodge. Is he neutered? Pinkie Pie. Honestly, those people are so right. I work in a shop that is very do what you get paid for, and that's it. I always do the best I can, regardless of what I am told, and customers appreciate it. So, Pinkie Pie, you're awesome. Seriously. And it really helps. It helps me too, knowing that you're out there doing that too. I'm sure it helps you knowing that I'm out there doing that, knowing that there are others who are just as stubborn as we are. Kind of helps, right? Like makes you feel like you're not so crazy after all. Well, we probably are, but at least we're not alone. Erica Baird. Hi, June. I'm a dog groomer, of course, and Monday past, I received a very nasty bite from a black standard poodle. Oh no. It was a new client. Okay, that makes sense. Of my hand that I wish you could see. Any advice? Um, I mean, if you're comfortable with it, and you take that poodle again, then I would definitely be careful, especially because that poodle kind of has your number now. And when I got bit by a Scotty one time, I went out to the lobby and I greeted the client and I went to put the lead over around the Scotty's head, and I got my thumb pad. It bit me so hard that my entire arm swelled up all the way up to my elbow. My entire arm was swelled up, and it was crazy because the bite was here. So this was the location of the bite, and yet my entire arm swelled up. And because Scotties have that brick jaw, like a German Shepherd, it really hurt. And for a long time, every time I would have to groom a Scotty, I would really just, shake it out, and just like, oh my God, Caesar Milan, please like channel Caesar Milan because I need you. Like I would be so scared. And I know that the Scotties kind of reacted that way. I kind of knew. But luckily for me, after that Scotty, every other one I've groomed have been super, super sweet. So it really kind of helped me get over it. But yeah, I mean, let's just say that you don't take that black poodle anymore. I'm willing to bet that the next black poodle that comes in, that's a new client, you may feel a little, that fear kind of, and it's a good thing. Your fear is actually trying to help you from getting hurt again. It's like helping us stay safe and alive. But it kind of takes what time is it? Oh, it's 10:04. Oh my goodness. But okay, let me fly through these. My advice would be to just my advice would be to, I don't know, I really can't tell you what to do because I know what I would do. I would ask for that client to bring their poodle back again and maybe use a muzzle if I had to, if I really didn't trust that dog, maybe use a cone, maybe use a groomer's helper. But I would definitely, kind of like horses, I'm not an equestrian, but I have enough friends that ride horses and I ask them a lot of questions. And one of them told me that when you fall off a horse, you got to get back on. If you can, if you're not injured. If you're injured, of course, go get help. But if you're not injured, if you're not hurt too bad and you can get it back on the horse, they're saying even if it scares you to death, you got to get back on that horse and then get back off immediately if you need to, you know, just, but that the idea is you get back on to let that horse know, hey, you know, like I'm doing this, you know, and also for your own like emotional well-being as well, you know, like it's just so important. So, but I don't want to tell you to do that. And then you call that black poodle back, and then you email me pictures of your other arm that got mauled, you know, like look what happened. So I really don't know what to tell you to do. And here's the thing, I agree completely with what Joe Rogan said one time. And Joe Rogan was the host of Fear Factor, if you guys don't know, but he said that he believes that we don't need gurus or life coaches. He believes that we all know deep inside, we all know what we should be doing. We just don't. That's the problem. So, you know, I got a feeling that you probably don't really need my advice. Like if you spend time just in quiet meditation and just contemplating, just thinking about the situation and what you should do, I'm sure you know. It's just, you know, again, having that courage. And courage is being scared to death and settling up anyways, you know. So man, I guess keep in touch, email me, let me know what goes on, and maybe over email we can talk a little bit more because I gotta wrap this up. God's lady first, no, and still never made it. Okay, oh okay, there's the other conversation. We'd have to have a doggy wedding first, lol. Well, God's lady first, if you raise your dog right, you wouldn't have to worry about that. I was kidding. Okay, Lay K4. As a dog owner, who has dogs that are miserable with new skin issues due to moving South Texas? I appreciate that so much. I wish my pups could go to you. Ah, Lay K, a lot of times it's not really South Texas or Chicago or Atlanta or, you know, wherever you move. What happens is, and this Pam Luritz taught me this during the ISCC classes. When a dog moves to a different area, it's all about pH. pH is in everything. So when a dog moves from one area of the country to another, the pH is completely different. The water has a different pH, the land, the earth, the soil, the grass, everything has a different pH. And some dogs adjust fine. Other dogs have a little bit of an issue adjusting to this new environment. So she's saying anytime you move, sometimes like a week or two later, or even sooner than that, you'll start to see your dog getting all these, you know, symptoms, these issues with their skin and things like that. When that happens, you know, the best thing is to go to a vet, have the vet do some allergy testings and things like that, and, you know, give them antibiotics, help them get through that. But yeah, I don't want to give too much vet information or any vet advice because I'm just a groomer. But I do know that when you move from one area of the country to another, for even from state to state, or even in the same state, from one area of the state to another, it has a different pH. So there may be some adjustment time for your dog. God's lady first. I love this. Awesome. I'm glad you like this channel. Oh my goodness. Late K4, because you are oh my goodness. I think you are. I think you guys are amazing. Seriously, it really, you guys are what makes this channel amazing. Seriously, if I was just on here talking to nobody, just making a, you know, presentation and making all these videos, but nobody subscribed, nobody watched, nobody interacted, you know, it would be nothing. There's no magic to it. The magic really is with you guys, with this participation. That's where the magic is. God's lady first. I'm learning so much. Wow, that's awesome. Lovers Lane Hodge, me too. Jun's channel is educational. Wow. Daniel Brown, good. Awesome. Vera Rami, I want to be a groomer like you for my BB in Wisconsin, or okay, Ben and Bath maybe in Wisconsin or near. You're one of the kind. You're one of a kind. Please do not stop doing videos. Awesome. Oh, we gotta go. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna copy. Oh my goodness, there's still more. Okay, I'm gonna copy all of these, and then we're gonna start with these questions, with these comments next week. Honey, can you believe? Whoa, man, I'm in trouble. Okay. All right, hold on. I'm just gonna copy and paste the comments here. Okay, perfect. But anyways, thank you guys so much. I'm sorry for anyone whose questions or comments I wasn't able to get to, but next week that's what we'll start off with. Thank you guys so much. I gotta go get beat up by my wife. No, you're not a bad person. She's my producer.